Random thoughts. In this video, I'm going to talk about how republics and monarchies interacted or dealt with slavery differently. When you read history, you realize there's a pattern that emerges. And I've talked of Africa had monarchies and it had republics, and republics were the majority actually. And when you talk of East Africa, Kenya in particular, or the land we know today as Kenya, there was like one monarchy in the interior, that is in Western Kenya, the Wanga, and then others were the coast. We are talking of Zanzibar, Mombasa, those ones, the sultanates. When you look at the rest of the land, it was mostly republics. Nandi, Agikuyu, Kisi, Maasai, Akamba, all these were republics for the most part. Now, when you now start considering or looking at the patterns, this pattern of the form of government and slavery, something becomes very apparent. Among the republics, the concept of slavery didn't exist. It wasn't there. There were no people owning other people in the Agikuyu Republic, in the Kisi Republic, in the Nandi Republic, in the Kipsigis Republic. There was nothing like somebody else owning another person for service or for labor. There wasn't anything like that. There was a lot of respect for individual freedom, and everybody was a member of this republic and respected to be a member of this republic, and everybody had a shot at becoming anything in this republic. But when you go to the monarchies, something happens. For example, when you look at the slave trade in East Africa, the Wanga kingdom played a very huge role in supporting that trade. And in fact, the Arab slave traders used to go to that kingdom to get support to buy slaves, because the Wanga kingdom will get these slaves from the neighboring republics, mostly through war, and then they will sell them to the Arab slave traders. And the same thing that happens with the Abyssinian monarchy, Ethiopian monarchy. There is a lot of dark history when it comes to slavery that is linked to the Ethiopian monarchy. It used to collect or to get slaves from the neighboring people and selling them and having them exported outside. And the same pattern, you go to the coast, the sultanates or monarchies, they engage Zanzibar, they engage in slave trade in large scale. But you come to the republics, there was nothing like slave trade. Internally and externally, they did not own people internally, or nobody owned other people internally, and they did not engage in that trade, at least not in a large scale. And that's a very interesting pattern. And I think that pattern is the same pattern across Africa. West Africa, the slave trade was mostly supported by monarchies, not republics. Maybe to the south, the same. Yeah, so there's something about monarchies and slavery. There's something about that. And there's something about republics not engaging in that. Those are my random thoughts.